E-E-N as the plant that blew up. It's just amazing how some of these words in a totally removed story in a different part of the world come up. Almost shocking. And we have a big sign in our Olympic Village. And once you start to read the pictographs and stuff like that, can we zoom in on our little Australian friend there? We'll see if we can blow him up a little bit. No pun intended. And we see our boxing kangaroo there. And this is one hell of a big flag. You can see it's a couple of stories high. The Australians like to take their giant party flag all over the world. But then you wonder, is there a story behind the flag? Like when you read a picture is worth 1,000 words, the old saying used to say. 1,000 words. I can't even find people who are literate sometimes to put 5 words together when they see a picture. But this baby, 50 square meters, tells you a lot. A little research, and we come up with some answers. We come up with some good answers. Let's see here. What can we find? So part of how this all came to be is this boxing kangaroo was used on bombers in the Royal Australian Air Force. Isn't that nice? Because what are we expecting at the Vancouver Olympics? Some sort of terror attack? We're spending $900 million, probably more, to protect the ski slopes. But nobody can read the flag too much. The flag was originally bought by a criminal named Bond, Alan Bond in Australia, one of their most famous criminals. Bond. Where is that name familiar? Oh, yes, James Bond. It kind of implies espionage. Alan Bond was a yachtsman. That could almost imply you're coming by the sea. And those little stars that are on the flag are the Southern Hemisphere's famous Southern Cross, the constellation that points to the South Pole. So if we can zoom in on the screen there, we can show one little quickie there of the Southern Cross. It's up here with 2 stars and 2 stars there. And then we have an upside down triangle here, which is kind of interesting because the upside down implies something evil. So we just don't see that constellation set up too much in our world. From the religious aspect, Peter was crucified upside down. And speaking of Peter, Jesus said, "Satan, get behind me, thou art an offense unto me." So that doesn't make that sound all that well, does it? That's the, if I can get my eyesight going there, Triangulum Austral is the name of that upside down triangle cross. So you could almost look at it as a cry for help, or a difficulty coming along. There's other crosses in the sky too in the southern hemisphere that I didn't know about, and this flashes, so we'll just have to watch closely. But there's 3 constellations there. There's the true cross, the diamond cross, which is the upside down cross. Then there's the false cross with a false pointer and a true pointer. Those are the constellations in the sky. So if we're looking for plots in the Olympics, a false flag operation, we can have a true operation perhaps, a true cross, a false cross, which could be a fake, and the diamond cross, which is maybe the upside down signal for danger, with true pointers and false pointers. Makes it a very complex operation, doesn't it? And then when we look at our geography of Vancouver, we find the major security perimeter is along False Creek. And False Creek are these parks here, these green little parts. So we have a false cross and we have False Creek. Very, very interesting. The first reference to this boxing kangaroo was in a German movie, black and white movie, a long time ago, for the Circus Bush. The Circus Bush was in that. I think we know about some bushes who've been involved in a little Shadow boxing in New York, perhaps, eh? And there was a fight against a white background. Oh, that's right. This is the Winter Olympics, and we're even trucking in some more white backgrounds. And it started a Mr. Delaware, based on Delaware, very famous individual in history, because there's a little bit of war and things like that. Then we have another little pointer as well, to kind of imply we're heading down a bad trail. Our buddies, if they can be called such, at PETA have put out a Special Olympic pin. It's a real killer. Can we see that one? Is that available on the screen? Or maybe I got to blow it up and twist it a little bit here. But we got the old classic seal beating going on here. And we're getting the seal clubbed. The last little circle in the Olympic emblem is a bleeding ring. So are we going to get a good clubbing at the Olympics? Is this what this PETA pin is implying? Because from this tip we have for tonight's show, I would expect that's going to be the case. And this one is scary. This radio station received an email, and it's the one that's kind of like changing the whole fabric of what we're going to do tonight. An individual in California sent this communication to the radio station. It was referred to me this afternoon. And what we have is we have a ship. We can zoom in on the screen here. Yep, okay, there's our communication to the contact us at ThatChannel. A gentleman is in the Los Angeles area. He attends at a hotel. He meets the crew from the Norwegian Star, an NCL cruise ship that was supposed to be used as a floating hotel to house people in the Vancouver Olympics. He said the crew were taken off the ship. It's in dry dock, or was at dock for repairs, and a suspicious crate was put on the ship. The ship left port. It's headed for Vancouver, or the Vancouver area. As I understand it, it's supposed to go to dry dock in Victoria. The CBC says it's going to dry dock in North Vancouver. Regardless, it's still pretty damn close. This is a track of the vessel, and a little picture of the vessel. You can see there it's one big-ass cruise ship, and it's heading off the coast of California at 21.5 knots on a heading of 319 degrees, heading up the coast to go to Vancouver. This picture kind of shows a bigger track. The blue line is the track of the ship. The end of the blue line with the arrow, that's the Norwegian Star, carrying a suspicious crate. And then when you go down here to Long Beach, you know, I think as far as Navy history is concerned, there's something called the Long Beach Naval Shipyard. I think the United States of America has weapons of mass destruction. I think possibly one could have gone missing, or two or three, when that little incident happened at Minot Air Force Base. Or maybe they found a couple of new toys they can play with. And they put a suspicious crate on the Norwegian Star that the crew should not know about. And that ship's going to be in Vancouver in a day or two. And it's going to dock. If it doesn't go to Vancouver, if it's got a big ticker on there, it's still good enough to make a big mess in Victoria and take out part of Vancouver if it wanted to. Very, very interesting. So that's a chilling tip from an individual down there who I don't know, so I can't confirm that he's a reliable informant. If I was a policeman getting a warrant or something like that, that's all I can say is that one should shake the building a little bit and get people to be very, very concerned. HMCS Algonquin is on point duty off Vancouver, and maybe it'd be a good idea just to let that boat get repaired another time, eh? But, or at least find that suspicious box that they put on there that this gentleman alludes to. Then something funny happens. Something always funny happens on the way to the Bush Circus. We find out that the Canadian government contracted cruise connections for the RCMP and the military to house 5,000 or so military police personnel on ships. They fell off that contract for some sort of reason. There's a lawsuit going on where Cruise Connections is suing the RCMP and basically the Canadian government for their funds. So they spent $76 million instead to hire 3 other ships to house their security people. The Staten Dam, the